Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about something that comes from Jurassic Park 4, not Jurassic World, but an earlier version of the fourth film that would have been made in its place. So what we're going over today happens to be an elaborate tourist attraction that you could have gone to see at the new fully functioning Jurassic Park. This area has many different names that it goes by in concept art, such as the Raptor Experience and the Raptor Hunt, but since it's labeled as the Raptor Theater on the official park map, I think that's the safest thing to call it for the sake of this video. With that being said, I want you all to keep in mind that everything I'm about to say is all speculation on my behalf as far as what this place could actually be. We don't have any official resources detailing what everything is just yet, so this stuff isn't exactly as set in stone as other pieces of Jurassic World history that have been cataloged extensively. Still, all of these detailed images do in fact correspond with each other and tell a story that I think makes for some really interesting discussion when you compare it to what we ultimately got in Jurassic World. So, back before Colin Trevorrow's movie was first released, he gave a brief interview on the version of JP4 that preceded his vision. This interpretation of Jurassic Park was honing in on that old John Sayles dinosaur military unit that would have incorporated the lead character going on secret missions with his pack of raptors in order to fight drug dealers. Now, I'm going to assume that the bulk of this concept art comes from that version of the script, because this would also be the version that has the Raptor Theater label slapped on the map, which also corresponds to a lot of the other version's plot points. Now, with all of that stuff out of the way, if we take a look at this initial imagery, we can see that the raptors have been integrated into Jurassic Park in a very different way. Here, tourists could file into a massive coliseum in order to watch some sort of elaborate show. The habitat would come complete with a Spinosaurus skeleton, a beautiful waterfall, and even a fake volcano standing proudly in the background. Now, in the upper right and left corners of this image, we can also see two large monitors that happen to display a human character that's more than likely going to be a part of the show. Another important tidbit to note is the text on these monitors, which reads, "Welcome to the Raptor Hunt," which I assume would have been treated like some of the attractions that we did eventually see in the final film. An even better view of this amphitheater shows us a lot of other cool details that we couldn't really glean from the previous image. This time, we get to see some storyboards that depict a man putting on a show for the attending audience. Those massive monitor screens are back from the last piece, and this time they're showing raptors for everyone to see. Now, from what I can gather here, it looks like the Raptor Hunt would have featured the earlier version of Owen, who was named Vance, doing some sort of fake dinosaur chase for an attending audience. The storyboards show him running through the jungle before running into some of the raptors and eventually meeting them all on the bridge in a very Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom sort of aesthetic. Eventually, Lance was supposed to jump off of the bridge and perform some sort of stunt where he grabs onto a vine and climbs his way to safety. Now, if this is exactly what's going on here, personally, I gotta say, I don't know how anyone would find that entertaining if they already know that it's just a stage show and that the raptors are never supposed to cause the man any real harm. While the set probably would have looked cool and the idea for a stunt show of this nature is very interesting, I personally just feel like all of the tension would have been non-existent for an audience that had even a shred of common sense. With that being said, there is some other concept art that I've talked about before in the past where the raptors themselves would have engaged in some tricks like walking on a tightrope. But this idea might have been abandoned in favor of the Raptor Theater later on in development. Still, I must admit that there is one piece of concept art that depicts this attraction that does look pretty cool to me, and that would be the art piece that shows the big bad theropod of the film breaking into the enclosure and destroying the bridge while Vance, or whoever this is supposed to be, just barely grabs the vine in order to climb to safety. Here we can see all of the raptors in the attraction freaking out and snarling at this new dinosaur that they know obviously doesn't belong here. And one of the raptors even seems to attack it whilst it's breaking the bridge. So I guess after we see the raptor trainers do their tricks with the animals earlier in the film, we would have seen the Malleosaurus or Diabolus Rex or whatever this is break into the enclosure and scare the hell out of everyone watching. This was not how the scheduled show was supposed to go. Of course, eventually, all of the stuff would be tossed out the window, and in its place, Colin Trevorrow would devise a paddock that would keep the animals far away from the rest rest of the park because of how dangerous they could be to the public. In the final version of Jurassic World, we're shown a very different relationship with these animals than what's depicted in this early concept art. Instead of a trainer coming out to pretend run from Jurassic Park's dinosaurs, Owen Grady's exhibit features an enclosure that seems to be taking notes on how things went so horribly wrong at the original theme park. If you compare all of what actually did happen in Jurassic World to this earlier version, you've got a completely different relationship going on with the animals, and one that, in my opinion, is not only far less realistic, but comes off as incredibly goofy and kind of ridiculous. I think the idea of trained velociraptors is kind of hard to do right, but I do think the earlier version of the film didn't really think everything through the way it should have been. We've seen Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler train these dinosaurs as far back as 1993, when Topps Jurassic Park comic books came out as a continuation of the first movie. But even in that old story, the dinosaurs are shown to be very unpredictable and vicious to those who try to control them. What Chris Pratt's character does in Jurassic World comes off as much more believable and intelligent to me than any of this walking on tightrope and doing a fake hunt stuff. And I think that might be due to the fact that in the first two Jurassic Park movies, the raptors were honestly depicted as bloodthirsty monsters. We don't really see them do anything other than hunt and kill people, and even when you get to Jurassic Park 3, the only reason they don't kill everyone like the other movies is because they're trying to get their eggs back. Again, personally, I think just jumping into a full-on show of spectacle with the dinosaurs running around and listening to their trainers' every commands comes off as rather hokey when you compare it to what Owen was doing in the research paddock that they set up away from the theme park. What Jurassic Park 4 would have been doing right here is exploiting Mother Nature to a circus level event. I just can't get behind the idea of someone running in every day and pretending to get chased by raptors for an applauding audience to just kind of laugh and scream at. That doesn't feel Jurassic Park to me, and I'm kinda glad they cut all this stuff back. But hey, that's just my opinion. What do all of you guys think? Are you a fan of some of these Raptor Theater, Raptor Tightrope, Raptor Hunt ideas that were going to be in the fourth Jurassic Park movie before Colin came in? If so, I'd love to know why, and if you're not, I'd also love to know why. Now, I do think this stuff does look really cool, and I'm not going to knock any of the artists that worked on it, but again, I will say, I just don't know how I would react to any of that. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope that you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.